Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined as always by Matt Morgan and Raj Giri. And tonight we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw for December 12th, 2016. This was the go-home show for Roadblock End of the Line. We had two triple threat title matches for the tag team titles tonight for New Day to tie, and then it looks like they're going to break the record. So with that being said, Matt, how's it going, man? What'd you think of Raw tonight?
It's going good. It was a good show. I didn't like the finish. I don't know. I don't like New Day breaking that record for some reason. In a day and age where tag team wrestling is not meant any less than it does today. Mm-hmm. No little kid's gonna look back at this like we look back at Demolition or some of these other great tag teams of the past with such reverence and be like, oh my God, they're they held the tag team championship belts the longest and yada, yada, yada. No one's going to give a crap that New Day did. And it's because of two things. One, no one gives a crap. Two, WWE's made us not give a crap.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have the great tag teams of yesteryear. But, if you talk to older fans from that era, guys who were like me, you and me, Matt, we're about the same age. So to us, Demolition was awesome. But you talk to people who were older, like in their 20s and stuff during that era. They thought Demolition were just cheap Road Warrior ripoffs, and they didn't have Demolition in that regard. So who knows with kids these days, if they grow up and they're like, oh man, remember the New Day back in the day?
And that does happen with generations. People become better, if you've noticed, not just themselves, but all the athletes they watched growing up are like 10 times better 20 years from now than what they were actually thinking about that athlete live.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think New Day is going to be awesome in retrospect. I think they're going to have a great highlight package when they talk about this. I mean, they're going to have their greatest hits of what they did in the ring, of the moments, of the comedy bits, not so much the wrestling. Yes, give it that. But I think as far as entertainers go, I think people will look back on them fondly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look back at guys like Brutus the Barber Beefcake and the One Man Gang. They were never great or good, but they're looked back on as legends.
They were in a context though where characters were larger than life characters, where everyone had a definitive character. And I know today we want that, but unfortunately we're in a much more realistic era. And because of that, I don't know. I just don't like the New Day. I don't. I think they're stale now. I think they're boring and corny. I don't even think they're funny.
Yeah, I think they.
I don't know.
They could use a heel turn or something.
And maybe now, and you know what? Look at it this way, Matt. Now we're free in a sense. New Day is going to break the record, and now they can turn heel. They can break up. They can lose the belts.
I just thought Jericho is perfectly set up for KO Jericho to win the tag titles, and get like Sheamus and Cesaro over, in a great tag team set of series.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you have so few titles, top guys to kind of move around, like having them in the tag title picture and the world title picture. I don't know. I agree with the finish. I thought New Day, it made sense for them to win, and now you can kind of move on and go whichever way. I mean, I see your point, and I actually thought there was a good chance that that's the way they could go.
That
when they threw that swerve in.
What other way did they go? To the other two tag teams I had to see tonight? Sheamus and Cesaro, okay, they're fun to watch now. I got to admit, I like watching them now. But not even my boy Gallows and Anderson, who I love to death. They're ruined.
Yeah, with the tag teams though, there's so little care involved that really all it takes is just Sheamus and Cesaro winning it next week, and they're like all their losses are kind of forgotten.
Well, and I'll tell you, that was the suspense tonight. That's what made it interesting during the first match, and especially during the second match, was the meta aspect of saying like, oh my God, are they really going to screw New Day out of this record to come so close and have it yanked away from them? That's what was fascinating to me, just watching both matches, but especially that second one. But I feel it's interesting going forward though, because they haven't announced a tag match for Roadblock, have they, Raj?
No, nothing yet. And I mean, who would they do it against? They've kind of beaten everybody.
Me and Nathan Jones are making a comeback.
There you go.
I was surprised tonight after that second match. I was like, backstage, Golden Truth and Shining Stars were like, why don't we make it 3 for 3 on the triple threats?
That's where you could go to. I mean, you could bring, the Revival lost the tag titles,
Yes. NXT, so. Okay. I'm down for that. Yes. All day. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Love Revival.
And so that's one way we could go. I got to say, though, with the New Day's promo at the beginning, it was kind of hard to root against him when he, dedicated it to his grandma and the crowd is chanting grandma. It's like,
yep,
got to win now.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's talk specifically about the first match. I mean, I don't know. Did the first match do anything for you, Matt? I mean, with Cesaro and Sheamus and Gallows and Anderson versus New Day?
Is that a sexual innuendo? Are you asking me to? As far as did it do anything for me?
Hey, there are some matches. Let's face it.
I'm playing. I love the Cesaro sequence. Love that. Everyone loved that. But I thought it was a very well put together match. I love the I know, was it Vince always gets on the bang, bang, bang false finishes at the end? I don't care. I disagree with them. I love those. I think they're exciting. Tonight could not have been any more epic as far as the false finishes went towards the end. And it was very well produced, whoever produced that match.
Yeah, I thought this was one of those cases where now that it's over, looking back, you're like, it's so predictable. New Day, we all knew it was going to happen. But they did do enough in that first match and the way they built the show up to the main event to cast some doubt. And, whether it's 5% or whatever, there's a little bit that had you guessing. For something that's, was so predictable going in.
Yeah, I thought all in all, the first match, but to your point, Matt, I think that really shows though, when you look at Gallows and Anderson in there, and then you especially look at Sheamus and Cesaro and the amount of moves they have, the amount of technical ability in the ring. It seems like New Day, once it comes to the actual wrestling, they're just not really doing much that's dynamic or compelling in the ring.
Some of Kofi's stuff was pretty good tonight. I liked some of Kofi's stuff.
Yeah, some good spots. But compare that to like what Cesaro's doing in the ring.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, that's almost anyone though. You can't, Cesaro is kind of
crazy. He's crazy good.
Yeah, I think with New Day, it actually probably behooved them to have some time out of the spotlight. Maybe they lose the belts and then get to go and work on something with, I don't know, with their gimmick, with their chemistry a little bit in the ring.
I'd like to see Big E go singles. I think he's he can be a big star, and he can move. He's a big guy that can move and it's got personality and charisma. I think I'd like to see that branch off. The only problem is I don't see Kofi and Xavier being an effective tag team.
Can I make one quick point? When fans always say, "Hey, you're a big guy. Why in the hell would Vince McMahon want come up with a stuttering character for someone like you that that can talk and things like that?" Big E's a great example of that philosophy that Vince has, and that philosophy is he wants to bring this personality out of you and make you so goddamn comfortable on that microphone, in front of that camera, in front of fans. Not just making an ass of yourself to make people laugh, but doing these charismatic type things. I don't mean rock charismatic type things, but like Big E is. And this chapter in his career, I guarantee you, will be the impetus to him becoming a big single star. It was this chapter, I guarantee it, that brought to life this confidence in him. Now that there's nothing he can't handle. Think about it. What can he handle on the mic? Character-wise, and definitely in the ring, he could always go. That was always Vince's big idea when he put like these ridiculous characters on people. You're like, why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. That's generally the hope.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying he's too much of a goofball. All it takes is one effective heel turn, and it's a whole new coat of paint.
One highlight video of him friggin' lifting weights in the gym, doing his strongman stuff, and then one destructing, job somebody out match, and we're back to the much higher geared up Big E when he just left off.
We talked about this before. I think he's the guy that could do something credible with Braun Strowman. You know, they could
absolutely could. Yeah. He's a legit strong man.
No, that's right. But they could have like a credible feud. I mean, that would really, I think, elevate both of them. You know, I think that was the problem with him in NXT.
Two big guys, it's tough to do. With two big guys, I'm speaking as one. It is very difficult.
But in NXT, how played out did it get with Big E just coming and demolishing everyone, doing the 5 count?
Yeah, I don't think you need to do that.
You can have competitive matches with all those main guys. The main guys. Yeah. It's just not. You don't want two big guys look like two pigs effing a football. That's what it always ends up looking like, and that's why that's why you try to keep them apart for as long as you could. It's not just the suspense; it's because the match is generally going to be the drizzling, you know what's.
Yeah,
yeah. It's rare to see a good a real big man versus big man match. Right. I mean, the closest thing I can remember is Roman and Big Show. You know, the one that they had last year.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Nash, Undertaker, could be real big guys, but yeah.
But there could definitely be something there. Speaking of Strowman, Curtis Axel made an appearance on TV tonight. It's been a little while since we saw him on Monday Night Raw. That match, I got to be honest, I went up to go to the bathroom. I came back, the match was over.
Are you surprised by this?
No, it's Curtis Axel. If you're going to beat the crap out of someone with a name I recognize, it should at least go on long enough for a bathroom break. That's my standard philosophy. If it's not, you know, a jobber they brought in specifically to lose.
You got to pause, man. You got to get a DVR.
That was really that thing saves me every Monday night, man. Yeah. But that was just to get to him to get to his in-ring promo. That's all that match was designed to do.
Yeah. Oh, poor Curtis Axel. What could have been had Hogan not been caught saying those things?
There wasn't much upside to that either. He would have been the comedy gimmick for a while, and you know it doesn't.
It was
doesn't get too far.
I hated it.
Yeah. In an alternate universe, him and Sandow rode that.
Hated it.
All the way to WrestleMania. So of course Strowman won that match, and then we started some backstage drama with Sami Zayn and Mick Foley tonight. So I have to admit, played me like a fiddle on that one. I really thought and the audience too. I mean, you could hear the audience from backstage just cheering when Sami talked about being traded to SmackDown. Everyone was like, "Finally, it's happening."
Yep. Yeah, I was all for it. I was excited too. I mean, are we going to be talking about how it ended up playing?
Yeah, so that was the segment that teased it, but very quickly, let's talk. I don't know. I mean, what is it? Lindsay Dorado versus Arya Daivari that happened with the interruption. Jack Gallagher coming out. I mean, that was sort of a non-segment due to that interruption, just meant to sort of propel and move forward that storyline. But I mean, what did you think about the skills on display for the briefness that they did wrestle?
I found that the most gentlemanly interruption in a wrestling match ever. I love Jack Gallagher. I am right now declaring myself his #1 fan.
Well, there you have it. Raj? Oh, Raj have to...
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry. Gallagher. That interruption was great. I mean, that was one of the best interruptions, most different ones. The thing I always have with Gallagher is, I mean, I like how different he is. I like he's unique and that's good. But when you're a little too it's hard to be taken seriously, you know. When his music hits, it's kind of like you smile, but you're not like, oh damn, it's going down.
Hey, Daniel Bryan's was the same way, brother. I hated it.
Yeah, that's true. But you didn't laugh when he came out, like you kind of.
Oh yeah, and you do. You definitely do. I am entertained by the guy, but you're right. There is. But what's crazy is it's that one headbutt, and he's just like Mr. Badass, like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like him, and different is good. You know, with the cruiserweights, and he's definitely different.
You know what I came to the conclusion of tonight, guys? The way to save the cruiserweight division is nothing but 3-ways. I've got a feeling that's
TNA did that forever.
Yeah, exactly. I think you'll get the action that you're wanting to get, Raj. You know what I'm saying? As far as the pace picking up.
Yeah, that's true, but you don't get any individual characters. I mean, it's harder to get over with the constant 3-ways.
We're seeing them fail with just going after the character route, though.
That's true. That's a good.
They don't know how to do it for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, at least that interruption tonight was memorable. It was something a little different. And then we went from that to the Rollins report with Seth coming out, bringing Owens out. I mean,
yeah, but real quick, the thing with the Sami thing, it's funny that Raw fans were cheering Sami going to SmackDown. You know, Raw is such the heel show now that even the guys that are there for the show were cheering for Sami to leave.
And not in a way, I did not take that as a, hey, get off, we don't want to see you no more. But it's like, this is so glaringly obvious that this guy is a star, needs to be treated like it. So if he goes to SmackDown, hey, we're all for it, go ahead, Sami. Like, that's pretty over with me, dude. You know?
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah, I thought that was it's funny when your own crowd, you know, considers you the heel.
that cheering was loud. That wasn't just a couple of people. I mean, that was the entire audience. So everyone is sort of smarky that was there tonight in the know and knows that it's just a better opportunity, a better landscape for Sami Zayn, even with what they did tonight with the swerve and everything. I mean, God, on SmackDown, so much better. I mean, we'll talk about that in a moment. Raj, what do you think of the Rollins report tonight with Owens? I mean, to me, that seemed a little, it felt like it dragged more than previous segments they've done like that.
Yeah, and I think the Rollins report is probably the worst name for a babyface interview segment, you know, that I can remember. Yeah, just Rollins is off his game on the mic. And, you know, Kevin Owens wasn't necessarily on fire either tonight. But, you know, Rollins did have the Bon Jovi meatloaf line.
That was pretty good.
Which was good, but it could have been delivered better. But Rollins, I just thought he was off. The segment, you know, usually with Jericho and Owens, it's you know, it's gold.
Automatic, yeah.
Yeah, and this was just kind of there. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It just
you're right. You're absolutely right. It was, you know, we really like Seth Rollins, so we're really wanting to struggle to see him get through this. Do you know what I mean? I could feel it when you're talking about him, just like I am, because I'm a fan of his work, you know, and I want him to be killing it. But I'm sorry, we got to do our damn job here. I thought that was horrible on his part. I don't know if he's not some black hole of charisma. I know he's not, but lately on the mic, he's kind of been. His timing's off. Even the stupid things like his voice, his pitch and everything, it's just all over the place. It's not like when he was going back and forth with KO, it sounded like two girls, honestly, for about a minute there. I was like, this is my wife sitting there going, are you kidding me? And I was like, he's like, that's your guy? I'm like, shut up. But it's brutal. It's almost embarrassing to watch at times just because of how girlyish it sounded. Like two girls on the playground going back and forth, pulling each other's hair. One of them wasn't even really paying attention in KO, you know, and Seth keeps, I don't know, if you're going to cut somebody off, you cut them off. And he wasn't doing that. He did get the one-liner in with Meatloaf, and that I for a minute I was like, "Oh no, this is the death of Kevin Owens as we know it," because they're going to be chanting this in every arena now, and he's not going to be able to get over this. But yeah, I mean that was a good line, Sparkle Crotch, good line, but I don't equivalent that to a good promo, you know.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know if Rollins is just not a good babyface or the stuff they're coming up with, you know, for this, the way he's been booked and scripted has just been off.
You're right. His heel promos were much better, right?
Yeah, no, he was, you know, going off the cuff. I mean, it was getting to be a joke how he would open every Raw with a 15-minute promo, but you know, he could go and he had your attention and he was doing great. And
I just think it's giving him something to play off of. But he was getting treated like a face when he came back from his injury, even trying to do the heel stuff, the cheap heat stuff. The crowd clearly loves him. But yeah, I feel like he either needs to be sincere, you know, like full sincerity, or go back to being how he was. I feel like he's a little too in between right now to really read one way or the other. You know,
I think he's a clear-cut babyface. I think that's part of the problem.
But I just don't think it doesn't come across to me the way it did. I mean, the whole thing with calling out Triple H, it seems to me like this is just another iteration of Rollins with a chip on his shoulder, but now it's for an actual, like, real reason. He has a real reason to feel screwed over.
Well, and there's also the, you know, unless you're super charismatic like The Rock or you know, something like that, if you're beaten all the time, fans start to lose faith in you too. If you're not super entertaining on the mic and you're just constantly losing, which, you know, he's been losing nonstop since he came back, and I think just that star power has been going down.
How do I not notice this? This is like him and KO both are like tied for my favorite guys, right? Or KO's a little bit ahead of him now, actually. I thought you guys should know this. But here's my thing is like, I don't notice this. I'm not noticing that he's losing all the time. Yeah. I should be fired. I should be fired from this job, folks.
He's gotten like multiple title shots at Owens. You know, he was, you know, faced Balor before that and Ambrose, and it's come up short every time.
And you think all fans? I'm seriously asking this. Do you think most fans remember all this stuff?
I think as far as Well, I think momentum, I feel like you can feel momentum on a character, and all those losses definitely bring that momentum down. So I think it stifles it. Yeah.
I always wondered that as the wrestler, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't give a shit if I lost or not. Excuse my language. I never gave a crap if I lost or not. But like, so after a while, I would remember, being a little mark, here and getting a little ahead of myself and going, well, how much damage does this do to my character? Does it? Doesn't it? What are we doing to protect me when I'm losing? Instead of just doing the business. Do you know what I'm saying? And so part of me wonders, as a wrestler, do the fans pick up on that? You know what I mean? That you start to lose X amount of matches and whatnot.
I think absolutely, because look at Cesaro, right? Whenever they do these, give him a push for like a month, and fans start getting into him, and he starts getting these huge pops, and then they start beating him like a drum, and then it just dwindles down to where it's people are cheering him, but not like they were, when he had some momentum going, and that momentum, it's all booking, because he's getting the reactions and he's doing the great matches, but then they start having him lose every week, and it kills it.
That's kind of funny though, Matt, you mentioning from a wrestler's point of view, you don't always notice. To me, like if I were writing a sitcom about a wrestling company, that would be the thing. They're like, oh my God, I've been losing a lot lately. Oh my God, am I becoming a jobber? Like, not even sort of aware of your standing. But I would have to think though that, yeah, I mean, for the fans, like if we love a guy, we want to see them win, right? I mean, unless
I'm just wondering if you guys remember 6 weeks ago, if the guy lost, you know what I mean, at his last pay-per-view performance kind of thing. That's all.
I think it's bigger picture than that. I think it's more like the Cesaros and Sami Zayns of the world, where it's like, oh, we love them. It seems like they always get a push, and then always, the football gets yanked away from them at the last moment when you really believe they're going to.
That was a great explanation. Momentum. That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Speaking of momentum, tonight, I don't know. I felt a lack of that with the TJ Perkins Brian Kendrick match. I mean, so there was some back and forth. Is that a triple threat with them?
Yes.
On the Sunday Roadblock. Okay, so it is a triple threat. Yeah. So what was the point of tonight's match? Just that once again, Kendrick and Perkins have unsettled, unfinished business, or
I guess Kendrick takes the fall again, so they wanted to give him a win before he loses on Sunday.
Yeah, wait a minute. Did I get this wrong? I thought it was a three-way, but then I could have sworn I heard them say Brian, because he won the match, something happens. No? Maybe I'm making that up.
No, I think it's a three-way. Unless I missed that they changed it, but yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it's a three-way.
There was a graphic for it. They can't change it, right?
Yeah,
that's true. And that's the thing with the cruiserweights is it's like, so you're having a three-way between all guys that have been the current champion and the two guys that have been the cruiserweight champions so far. I mean, isn't it redundant if the belt just keeps? I mean, at some point, is everyone in the cruiserweight division gonna have the belt for a week?
Yep. Everybody but Daivari. Yep. I'm just ribbing him. But yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have seen Gallagher in this somehow, or I hate that Scottish guy, by the way. What's his gimmick? What's his name? I think it's from whatever the hell he's from.
They had him squash Cedric Alexander last week for some reason I can't get. Yeah, instead of having the two guys that are wrestling for the title and one of them losing, why not put them both in separate matches and get a win heading into a title match, know? Instead of having one of the challengers lose on the I mean, they do this all the time, and it's
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about another match that man, for me, I just can't believe this. Bayley versus Alicia Fox. Now, this is nothing against Alicia Fox.
Wow.
I've spoken before. I mean, I thought Alicia Fox versus Nia Jax was interesting. I think Alicia's put on some really
no, you said lots of good things about her, actually.
Lots of good things about her, but I think that what they're doing with her character and having them fighting over a guy, and just it seems sort of like this is just, I mean, what's the opposite of elevate? Because it's that.
It's the petty stuff they did with the women's division with women's feuds when they were divas,
Yeah, and it's like, oh man, it's like, and Bayley's caught up in this. Bayley, who everyone was like, oh my god, it's gonna be so great when she gets out of NXT. Like, I don't know that it's that great with her out of NXT.
You gotta hope she's in a holding pattern. I mean, who knows which way they'll go with Sasha and Charlotte. My guess would be that Sasha wins, so they give her at least one real title run. But you never know. I mean, they could do the whole bit with Ric Flair turning on Sasha and helping Charlotte win. But
yeah.
But you guys, with Charlotte winning, at least you got Bayley there, and she's just kind of in a holding pattern. Sasha, I don't know who you really got, because I feel like Nia Jax is not really an interesting title feud at this point. Emma, I think it's just too soon when she gets back, and that's kind of it.
That's the only alternative. It has to be Nia Jax if Sasha keeps it. That's the only heel for her, and it's way too early. But they don't have anybody.
Yeah.
Well, tonight, for the 11th week in a row, we had the return of Emelina teased that has now been pushed back to debuting soon, premiering soon. So
he's turning into Brodus Clay. Remember that when they teased him for like 3 months? They're like, he's coming next week.
What would you guys do if they never do it at all? It just keeps going on forever.
That would actually be kind of awesome if that was just like the running
best
joke.
rib in wrestling history.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They like trade her back and forth from Raw to SmackDown, but she never actually ever debuts.
Yeah, this is like next level Eva Marie, messing with the audience if they keep doing this with Emma. I mean, but yeah, they gotta do something, man. They gotta do something. And again, Dana. So Raj, to your point last week, Dana Brooke tonight, a lot of retweets coming from her.
Oh,
tonight about people complaining about Dana not being on the air.
Yeah, I mean.
Whoa. What do you mean? Complaining she wasn't on the show?
No. People were complaining on Twitter, like, oh, where's Dana? Blah, blah, blah. Dana, like last week, retweeted, must have been 100 of them. Tonight, I just saw it going by, retweets by Dana Brooke, people complaining about her not on the show. I mean, Matt, I'm sure there were many times in the WWE that you had to bite your tongue. Can you imagine how much harder that would have been if you had things like Twitter at your disposal?
At TNA, it was hard enough. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine doing my starter character, and having that happen and be like, what are they doing? Yeah, that would be hard. And any wrestler watching this, you guys know better. When you hit retweet for some mark that's marking for you that you think the office is going to read, and all of a sudden they change their booking plans because you sent them 56 retweets proving otherwise, is not a good idea. It doesn't work. It makes you look like a mark for yourself, period, point blank. Nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. Stop doing it. And it's gonna get her fired. It will get her fired if she keeps that crap up. Mark my words.
Yeah, good things never come of that. I feel like they need if I was hired by WWE as a wrestler, the first thing I do is shut down all my social media, and then they need like some sort of like alcohol sensor, like before you can tweet, like you take a breath, and then it's like, all right, you could log into Twitter.
I'm surprised they don't have a class. I mean, they have classes for everything now, right? They have different social media classes.
Yes, they definitely do. Yeah, they're very thorough with it, actually. So I'm surprised she's doing this, actually.
Yeah, it seems like there are rules, right? It's like, someone says something nice about you or wishes you a happy birthday, retweet it. A kid dresses up in your t-shirt, retweet it. But people like saying, not even passive aggressive, fully aggressive things about the way you're being booked. Like,
well, I think the ones that would really piss WWE off are she was retweeting ones about Raw ratings being down and like how the show was bad because she wasn't on.
Oh my God.
Saying like the show was, even though you're not saying it, you're retweeting it, but anything about the show being bad or the ratings being down, only a handful of people can say that. And it's like Cena, Triple H, outside of that, no one else can get away with it.
Well, let me be very clear. If there's any fans watching or listening to this right now, and you are that fan that thinks the Raw ratings are greatly affected because Dana Brooke's not on it, you need to quit watching wrestling right now. Don't listen to our podcast. Go jump in your pool and drown yourself because you are an idiot, an absolute waste of space. And you're only saying that thinking that it's your way of flirting with a pretty girl who's going to retweet your tweet and you're going to go rub one out in the corner to it.
Isn't that a weird way to flirt with a performer, though? Like, man, those ratings would be so much higher if Dana Brooke was on the air. I mean, it's just like
they want that back and forth. That's even if it's a retweet or a favorite or whatever. They're in the. I'm not going to do the noise, but you know what they're doing to it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so we still got a lot more to talk about, including, I'm sure what for many of us was our segment of the night between Sami Zayn and Mick Foley. Talk about what happened with Lana and Rusev coming out there. And, of course, the main event triple threat for New Day to break that record. Now the longest-running tag team title holders in the WWE. But first, I want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of this show, DDP Yoga. You've heard us talk about it. DDPY has changed countless lives. Many of the past and current roster have benefited greatly from it. Guys like Jake Roberts, Scott Hall, Chris Jericho, and Mick Foley. Mick Foley today was talking about he's lost 100 pounds. DDPY is a big part of that. So if you've been thinking about taking control of your own health and fitness, going into the new year, DDPY is having the biggest sale ever, their Ho 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 holiday sale, and it's already underway. For a limited time, you can get the DDPY DVDs for 25% off plus 3 months of full access to the DDP Yoga Now app. Or if you're just digital only, you can get the DDP Yoga Now app for 25% off. You can also buy a max or combo pack at 25% off and get a second one for 50% off. We talked about this last week on the SmackDown podcast. Great gift. Sure, it's a little awkward when you give somebody yoga DVDs and say, hey, you need to take control of your life, man. But trust me, they're going to thank you in the long run for DDPY. If you've been sitting on the fence thinking about starting it, now is the best time to get on board. Take control. ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Stop procrastinating and get started now with DDP Yoga. And we thank them for sponsoring the show. So Lana and Rusev came out. Did anyone else think it was weird how they talked about like they were going to show what went on behind closed doors, and they showed us the exact same footage we saw last week?
I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, I know they don't go out of their way to explain like why there was a camera there, in the hotel room, why that would be on video or broadcast remotely live. But it just seems so strange for them to try and pull this, like, clearly you guys haven't seen this before. That was a very, very strange segment.
I thought Rusev was really good for the first part. I thought it did drag after a little while. Rusev, he seemed like he was losing his accent there a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
But I think Rusev, there's just so much potential in that guy. I think he's great on the mic. He's kind of hindered a little bit on the mic because of having to play this monster Russian heel but I think he's once they let the chains off and let him go, I think he can be really good.
Matt holding up a photo of Eldon Henson there. I've got a story about that later.
I was trying to line that up for fans at home, sent to me by a fan, Graham Williams.
Wow.
And if you line Glenn next up to him, line him up to him. Tell me it's just like him.
I've been getting that for 16 years, ever since She's All That, man.
That's the guy from The Office, right?
No,
Daredevil.
No. Daredevil,
okay.
Foggy Nelson.
Foggy Nelson.
But yeah, quick story. I was at the Troubadour in Hollywood once watching like a Tenacious D concert. A guy came up to me, thought I was him. Turned out it was his stunt double who worked the effects rig with him on the movie Idle Hands. So a guy that spent 12 weeks filming with him was convinced that I was him and was playing a joke on him by pretending not to know him. We used to look a lot more alike back before the beard.
Well, you know what's fun? Rusev is another example, in my opinion, of them giving a lot of different stuff to right now. As a big guy, big, powerful guy, serious looking, looks like a badass, right? And he works like a badass, and he has a pretty legit background, in my understanding, too. On top of it, which makes him more realistic looking, right? They've softened him up in a good way by having him do all of this stuff with Lana, some comedy one week. He can do everything too. He's another one that I think is gonna just take off to the moon if they do it right.
Yeah, I agree.
He's looking good too, much better shape.
Yeah, he does look in better shape.
Who do you go with Rusev and Big Cass this Sunday?
Oh, they love Big Cass. They love him, don't they?
They love him with Enzo.
Okay, well then, Big Cass can't lose yet.
Oh, you mean WWE or the fans?
Yeah.
Yeah, WWE loves Big Cass.
Big Cass can't lose yet. So Big Cass or DQ, but definitely not Big Cass being pinned in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I could see a DQ where Enzo runs in and costs Big Cass by DQ or something.
Right.
It's so weird to me now. I mean, I feel like we'll talk about this at the end, the stakes going into Roadblock end of the line, but it just seems to me with Roman having the US belt, no one's having the Universal title. I mean, with Rusev, with Rollins, with all these other guys, it's just, why are they having the US title holder and the Universal title holder competing against each other at this pay-per-view? It seems like that's taking up all the oxygen. So all these other matches have no real stakes.
Because it's a short chapter. In both title belts, there is no, let's be honest, there is no story for the title belt like there used to be. At least for the US, there's not at the moment. So I think it's a very short chapter that's going to be very short-lived. That doesn't hurt anybody for a month or two. Them not putting that title belt on somebody else that could be doing more with it is what I think they think.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like they just needed something because they've done Rollins and Owens too many times, and I don't. I mean, I just don't see them having Owens beat Reigns clean for sure. But this is something. I mean, this is going to be the house show main event for at least a couple months. I know the Raw before the Royal Rumble. This is the dark match main event. It's still Owens and Reigns. So that's why I thought last week it would have made sense to have Jericho win the U.S. title and have him and Rollins feud over the U.S. title.
Yeah.
And the match Sunday is for the Universal title. The U.S. title is not on the line.
Right.
I'm not sure. Oh.
Because I think Reigns had to beat Owens to get that Universal title shot. So yeah.
So
they haven't really made a big deal out of that. Like it's champion versus champion.
Right. It cheapens the title. How cheap does that make that title seem right now? That Kevin Owens doesn't want a secondary title. He should just to be a jerk about it, want the secondary title.
Right.
At least put some sort of importance on it.
Yeah, at least mention it. Just make it a big deal. Like you got the two top champions on Raw going head to head.
Yeah. So Sami Zayn versus Jinder Mahal and everything that followed after that with Mick Foley. So as we discussed, it was set up. It seemed like Sami was going to SmackDown. Big suspense on who he was being traded for. The punchline coming out that it's Eva Marie setting Sami off. And then ultimately Mick gives him what he wanted, which was a chance to face Braun Strowman at Roadblock. And then, I thought it was hilarious that Mick pulling out the blank piece of paper. Like there was no trade. I never even talked to Daniel Bryan. Just what a way to get to that point with the segment.
There's just the one thing, Raj, that if you don't mind, I just want to say that really irked me about this segment. They're trying to make him less squeaky clean. They're trying to put him through Mick's school of making wrestlers tough, a la Edge, a la Randy Orton, etc. Rinse and repeat, right? That's what this was designed to do. And they failed because they should have had him beat Mick's ass, is what they should have done. When they were face to face and they were yelling, his voice was screeching, and he sounded like a Catholic schoolboy who was like yelling at his mom and running to his room, where his voice was cracking at the end. I love Zayn too. I wanted to see him bitch slap the crap out of Mick, knock him on the ground, and mount him and start beating his you-know-what in, and then leave. Then he's so squeaky clean, I think the whole world would, A, be okay with it, and B, a quick explanation that he snapped, and Mick saying, "This is what I wanted to see out of you. This is what I needed to see before I gave you to Braun Strowman, yada, yada, yada." Something like that. There needed to be a physicality for choir boy looking Sami Zayn, to show us that he's now in that other gear. Talking words doesn't do it if you're not big, menacing, intimidating looking, or have a specific type of voice, a la Paul Heyman, Sid, guys that can use that whisper voice, Jake Roberts, and make you intimidated with their words. He doesn't have any of that. So he needed the physicality.
I agree 100%. Like I thought, and I've said that too many times tonight, so I'm going to argue with you later about something. I'll find something. But when Mick Foley said Eva Marie, I thought Sami Zayn was just going to start punching away. Like that was going to be like, the straw that broke the camel's back. And then ultimately he's like, no, I'm better than Eva Marie, and a lot of Eva Maries, and yes,
a lot of Eva Maries.
That was a great impression, Raj. When I close my eyes, it's like Sami Zayn's joining the podcast.
And like you, I'm a big Sami fan, but I think like a ton of people were disappointed that he wasn't going to SmackDown.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. I just love that today there was a discussion of someone in creative going around going, what's funnier and more insulting, Eva Marie or James Ellsworth? Trying to figure
probably out. Really was I'm being dead serious.
I'm
sure. Because the audience thought it was going to be Ellsworth. I actually thought Ellsworth would have been a good trade. I would have been like, that would get him. I mean, it would let SmackDown reclaim some seriousness to their title picture.
He needs to be traded with death. That's where Ellsworth needs to be traded with.
Jeez.
And off my TV forever.
There's your headline for Wrestling Inc., Raj. Matt Morgan says James Ellsworth traded with death.
He'll stop following us after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought the whole Eva Marie thing. It just made no. I mean, it made sense once Mick Foley revealed he was never doing it. Because until that, it's like, well, Daniel Bryan's been talking about how he wanted Sami Zayn so bad that makes no sense that he would trade up Eva Marie. But overall, it made sense, but it was a disappointment. But I'm guessing they're not going to have Sami beat Braun, but by doing this 10-minute time limit, they could set it up to be a draw.
It's something. It's step in the positive direction finally for him. Overall, as far as Mick put him over like that, toward the end there, and saying he believed in him and all this other stuff. Because otherwise, I'm like, what are they doing? Just having Mick parry him like this, week after week.
It's very strange. But I mean, I don't know. Tonight, I felt like it was a little improvement for Mick. He didn't start yelling and spitting at people when he was talking.
No,
I mean, I felt
Mick was on. This is what Mick is good at, and he did it. He did it well again tonight, I thought. Yeah, I was pissed watching it. I put myself right in Sami's vein. I'm telling you right now, I kicked him in the gut and DDT'd him like 5 minutes in my head.
I thought he was going to hit him too. I mean, it seemed like they were going that route with it. But with Mick, I mean, Raj, you probably know the skinny on this. I mean, is Mick so medically not cleared to do anything that you cannot even lay a hand on Mick Foley at this point?
I remember hearing that a while ago. Yeah, at least for a while he couldn't take any bumps. But I mean, he's gotten slapped by Stephanie, hasn't he?
Yep.
Or has he?
Yes.
No, it just feels like I think it just.
Tell me, Stephanie.
It does. Admittedly, it does.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone's touched terms.
Him. Yeah, no. Probably the same thing with Daniel Bryan. It's like if the guy sneezes too hard, he'll get a concussion. But yeah, it was a good segment tonight. I like that. But I like you guys said, I mean, with the time limit, it'll probably end up being a draw on Sunday. And I don't think this is the last we've heard about Sami Zayn going to SmackDown.
I'd like to see them do a trade just to have that storyline option there because they haven't really done it yet. So,
and we need something different on SmackDown, man. I mean, either that or start bringing up some NXT guys just to be in one-off matches or something.
Hell no, they'd be brought to be stars. They got some.
Yeah, well, if they're not going to do that, bring someone up just to get some different people on SmackDown each week.
You need people on top, and they don't really have anyone. So that's their biggest hole.
Yeah. No, I mean, when we went through the roster, what was it, a week or two ago, Raj, I was shocked that it's like there's no one with the exception of Jack Swagger that's not in a storyline in SmackDown currently that's not on the roster.
Well, Cena's coming back in a couple of weeks, so I think he's getting put back in the main spot. But yeah, and I think Ambrose is going to go to Miz, but that's kind of all you got. And Orton and Wyatt.
So we did have the main event at the end of the show, the triple threat between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho versus the New Day. I thought what was interesting about this, for it being, the New Day's win,
real quick, did we explain why this match happened?
Yeah. So after the celebration, after the initial match, some champagne got on Stephanie McMahon, and she did not take kindly to it. Instead of slapping someone, she decided to put together another match to make New Day jump through another hurdle to retain the belts.
Now, were you shocked that she did not just, de-pants New Day? Just chew him a new one. I was expecting it, like a huge reaming coming.
Like crap coming from horse manure coming from the ceiling, something huge. Yeah.
I thought she was real. I thought she was gonna smack him around or something, But
I think they've set up her character well enough that it's just by saying oh, she's angry and she's doing this is we all kind of know.
Glenn, they did that after the third time she, emasculated some poor guy on TV, and that didn't stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just
gonna. Isn't she a heel? Why is she celebrating the New Day's win and all happy? Keep her, be consistent.
She's just supposed to show up at work every day and be like, I hate all of you. You're all terrible.
Yes. And let Mick do the other. Yes.
I mean, you wouldn't have Vince celebrating, back when he was feuding with Stone Cold, celebrating with the other baby faces. You keep it consistent.
I'd argue, though, for her, this is a tag team from her era that's displacing a tag team from her father's era for the title.
Well, if that's the storyline, bring it up.
It was just to get her in there, Glenn. It was just to get her in it to set this match up. Nothing more, nothing less. They think we're all idiots for even thinking, why is she in this? Why would she be celebrating with them?
And they did a good job because as soon as they did that, you knew like they were going to book another match for that night. And then you're like,
Yep.
well, why are they doing this? Are they actually going to have them lose? You know?
Yeah, I thought they were. I really did.
Yeah.
It was yeah, I thought they could lose as well, but I thought it was very interesting for a match that was so pivotal for New Day, that they weren't there for most of the match. It seemed like, I mean, really, this was Reigns and Rollins versus Jericho and Owens. It seemed like for the better part of it.
Kind of like for both matches.
Yeah, which makes sense, right? If they're going to be in 2 matches in one evening.
Yeah.
But it also speaks to the fact that, I mean, New Day doesn't have, it's been a while since they've got to do really dynamic in-ring stuff. I feel like they come out, they cut their promos, they're funny, people like them, but yeah, they're not technicians in the ring.
What do you mean?
At this stage. I'm saying they don't get a lot of spots. They don't get a lot of really interesting things. I mean, Kofi does Trouble in Paradise. He does, a feat of strength, but they don't get, I mean, look at what a showcase this was tonight for one. Rollins and Reigns aren't even really a tag team, and they got to show more tonight in terms of dynamics and
that's
moves.
Their money match at the pay-per-view. That's all.
But that's what I'm saying though, is that with New Day, like they're if it's your match, right? This is what's going to go down in history.
They're in the background
of their own coming out party, as it were.
Where they could be losing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that when people think of this match, they're not what I think of the match. And I actually thought Rollins and Reigns versus Owens and Jericho was pretty compelling. That was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it was actually.
I thought this whole match I thought everyone was really good in this match. I thought New Day was really good.
I thought
what they had, yeah.
I enjoyed the 6-man superplex. I thought that was they pulled that off very well. But yeah, all in all, it was weird to have both matches start and end, or both the show start and end with the same type of match. That felt a little different than usual.
I thought it was good. I liked that. I liked it was different.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't have an issue with it either.
No, I thought it was. The crowd was hot for that match. That main event, and I mean, they were buying into all the false finishes. I was too. I thought they did an awesome job.
They wanted KO and Jericho to walk out with those titles more than anything.
They were the most over.
As did I.
They got the biggest. Yeah, they got the biggest reaction of the 3, and I mean, and they were the only heel tag team.
Yeah.
So do you think this is like legit? They're finally breaking up because they keep going further and further with this every time.
I mean, the friggin' fan in me wants to say no, but nah. Yeah, I do.
Well, it looks like Jericho's leaving after Mania. Fozzie's getting all these concert gigs, and he's got a new album that they're working on. So, Mania, it's not that far. So you got to start getting those storylines in motion. I mean, is KO versus Jericho? Is that what they have planned for Mania? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, they put a lot of time and a lot of storytelling into that. That one-on-one matchup between those two. They're dynamic. Their friendship. And we're just seeing. We just passed the precipice of the breakup, in my opinion, and now it's all going to be treading downhill. But like the build to them being friends, I thought they put a lot of time into that. They just did.
Yeah.
And I think there should be a payoff for that at Mania. I know it doesn't have the same feel as a Goldberg Lesnar or somebody versus Taker, but still it deserves its own match.
Yeah.
Well, it has stakes at this point.
I think you have Jericho be the face. Who knows? I mean, I'd like to see Kevin Owens stay the Universal Champion. I don't know if it'll happen, but Owens the face and Jericho going after one last title reign. He's lost so much but he's just so over with the fans that I think fans would. I think they'd get into that.
Yep.
So how do you think they interfere or get involved in each other's matches Sunday at Roadblock?
Oh God, I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to, right? I mean,
yeah.
It seems weird otherwise.
They have to. They're crisscross. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me call up the Roadblock card, but before that, so Matt, what are your final thoughts on tonight's episode of Raw?
Mine, 8. I liked it.
Wow.
I did like Raw. I did like it a lot, actually.
Cool, Raj.
I like a 7. I thought there was nothing that really stood out like that. I thought was outstanding. The New Day stuff was compelling, but that was about it. So I'd give it like a 7. And New Day haven't beat Demolition's record yet. They got a couple more days to go. Hopefully, there's no injuries or anything. I mean,
tomorrow night, special match on SmackDown with the Shining Stars.
Shouldn't jinx anything.
You know, that would be the ultimate, is if New Day had dropped it to the Shining Stars. Somehow that had happened.
You had a dark match afterwards.
Yeah. And then Vince McMahon just comes out and just laughs at everyone, moons the crowd, and goes back, you know. So let's look at the card for Roadblock. So we got Rusev with Lana versus Big Cass. We talked about that. Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman in a 10-minute time limit match. Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho, a triple threat. Rich Swann versus Brian Kendrick versus TJ Perkins. Sasha versus Charlotte for the championship, the women's championship, in a 30-minute Iron Man match. Oof. And then Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. So that's kind of a nice tight card.
I mean, do they give it away that Sami Zayn comes out of this 10-minute match? I mean, all he has to do is last 10 minutes. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the time limit. So
what happens if Braun Strowman just beats his butt in for like 12 minutes of just nonstop carnage? You know, that could happen.
They do that a lot with these kind of matches where, you know, someone has to beat someone in X amount of minutes and they just get destroyed, but they slip on a banana peel at the end and don't make it. But yeah, I mean, you would think this was designed specifically to get, you know, a time limit draw in there.
Yeah. So if it goes past 10, it's a draw. Sami doesn't win.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I took it. It's not a like a beat the clock type of thing, but just a time limit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, but I like that idea of, Raj, like you're talking about. I always used to enjoy that in movies with the, like, I bet you can't last X number of minutes in the round with this guy. Like, I think with Sami, that's a good way.
That's some real OG bully stuff. You know what I mean? Like the Wild Wild West days and stuff. You know what I mean? You could last with Big Al over here. You know, the neighborhood bully for 5 minutes. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see what Sami does with this. I mean, I don't know if we'll be seeing Sami doing his typical, you know, I don't think he's going to do any power bombs or, you know, none of those 360 moves around, but I think it'll be good. You know,
I'd like to see him go absolutely insane and keep morphing more into this, delving deeper into this, you know, not crazy, but, you know, intense character that Mick was trying to suck out of him tonight. You know, I'm talking where he just gets DQ'd from chair shot into Big Monster to death. You know, something like that. I don't know. I doubt it's going to happen, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm looking forward to that. I think that's for me in my top 3 of what I want to see.
If Sami Zayn snaps, it could be a completely brand new babyface we'll now have finally.
Do you think Vince sees Sami Zayn in that role enough to completely go with it?
And run the risk of damaging. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. See, the fan comes out of me more and more every show as I'm finding.
Just remember, Vince is always lurking.
Yeah. Ruining my friggin' fun.
So much they can do with Sami Zayn. They just, I don't think they realize what an opportunity they have with him. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Of course, we'll be back here on the podcast to talk about that once Roadblock ends on Sunday. But let's talk about some of the other news that happened this week. Raj, what's the story? Chris Hero coming back to the WWE.
Yeah, that's what Dave Meltzer reported yesterday. Chris Hero is on his way back to WWE. He was let go a few years ago. He had signed on with WWE, went to FCW, then was in NXT for a couple of years
as Cassius Ohno. The original KO.
KO, yep.
Yeah.
A lot of he had a lot of heat for not getting in better shape, and you know, there were conflicting reports as to why he was released, but that was one of them. But yeah, he's been killing it. I mean, he's probably a better wrestler now than he was then. And he's just been killing it on the indie circuit. So, I think he should come back as Chris Hero. KO is kind of taken now. Yeah. And, just bring him to the main roster. He doesn't need NXT. Bring him in as a Wyatt or something.
Yeah, I hope he comes back. I mean, I can give a crap about somebody's muscled up or anything, but I would like to see him in a little bit better shape. Skinny fat is not. You know what I mean? Right. He's better than that. He's such a stud in that ring, and he's good on the mic. He's great. You know, I'm surprised it took them this long to bring him back. Maybe that was more on him than it was them because he's making so much money working indies and stuff, I'm guessing. Who knows?
Yeah. But that's what I was saying. If he did something like a Wyatt gig, then at least he can be covered so he's not.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like he's changed his outfit so he's not wearing He's not wearing trunks.
Just every schlubby looking dude in the WWE. Like, let's toss him with the Wyatt family. You know?
Well, no, or what's his name? Not Rollins. Rollins is built like $1 million. No, what's his name? The other guy. Come on.
Reigns, Strowman.
No, the other third member.
Oh, Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose, for example, he doesn't have a good physique. They put him in a wife beater and jeans. It gets annoying after a while, but at least I don't have to look at skinny fat, and it doesn't hurt him, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, so I thought the report was he's going to go back to NXT, and I think that would certainly make sense if NXT is going to do any more call-ups, just because NXT is going to be lacking.
I would like that for him. I'd like for him because he can blow up there again and to a whole different level. I mean, NXT is a big brand.
And a much different brand now than it was. I mean, he was NXT the weird middle years of NXT post reality or post competition show pre the network was when he was there, like 2012, 2013. So I think, he'd benefit greatly from that now.
Mm-hmm.
So Matt, when you see someone that's skinny fat or getting out of shape backstage, do you guys talk to them or just kind of let it go?
TNA not so much, but like in WWE, I remember when the veterans will get on or something like that. Especially like I remember like Kendrick, or Paul London. I remember, and Paul London was I would say shredded for a cruiserweight. You don't want to be some bowling ball looking guy being short and super jacked. You can't even move. It doesn't look right. I thought Paul was a perfect size for his height, but like Brian, I remember would be razz a little bit by JBL or whomever would just that would be their way of saying, come on, you're supposed to look like an athlete. Get your ass in the gym like the rest of us. We're all going to the gym with back injuries and neck injuries and whatnot. Just because it's not part of your character doesn't mean you can't look like an athlete. And that was his way of doing it, and I respected that. Brian was my buddy, but I agree that the guy should be getting in the gym. You're a professional athlete. You should always look like one. I'm not saying if you're some big fat guy and you're trying as hard as you can, that's different. But if you're just sitting there playing video games and getting fatter by the minute or getting scrawnier by the minute and not trying to eat right and look like an athlete or try to be the best you can to make your character, better, what are you doing here? That's somebody else's spot that would kill for it.
Yeah.
Look like an athlete at all times. That's all.
Yeah. Some people, and this guy is going nuts in the comment section that you gave Raw an 8 and I gave it a 7. Dude, remember, it's a weighted scale.
What does he want it to be?
He wants it to be like a 2 or 3, I think.
Yikes.
And then another one, this girl is criticizing me for always saying bad stuff about Raw, even though I praised most of the show. So there you go.
There's, don't read the comments. Every time I read the comments, it's on all three of us, and like everyone for different things, right?
Yeah,
it's like just everyone nitpicks. So, but it goes to speak to how diverse.
I'm trying to get questions, but so it's hard to avoid. But yeah,
I like that. Raj, like trying to get questions, but just this massive hate on Raj fest that I'm trying to sift through here. So let's talk about this. I remember, Matt, I wanted to ask you, because I seem to remember this from Tough Enough, and I know you were on the show. So there's a very specific WWE workout plan that they have you guys do. Is that correct?
No,
or was that just a Tough Enough thing?
Well, no.
NXT now, at the Performance Center, they have
a trainer that trains them, and they have their own individualized workouts. Mm-hmm. But and then they also have some group activities as well. But I mean, Tough Enough, they just did stuff to make us puke and want to quit. None of that was built to make us better athletes. That was to make good TV and make us look like a bunch of bleeps and quit the show or get hurt or whatever. A 380-pound guy jumping over a friggin' 10-foot wall on the beach, landing in someone else's foothole, twisting my ankle one way, snapping my knee the opposite, and I'm off the show because of stupid crap like that.
Yeah, you were on season 2. That was the one with the controversial ending, as opposed to season 1 where everyone quit and whoever was left basically won.
Sure.
Well, you remember when NXT started out as a TV show, and all those guys were always risking injury with those stupid drills that they had.
Oh my God, balance beams and wrestling boots and stuff. Come on,
carrying the kegs and stupid stuff.
Because of Brian Danielson sitting there doing this, I'm going, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Even Tyrus, I remember thinking like, this dude is humongous.
Yeah.
What do they got him doing this crap for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy, man. So let's talk about Alberto Del Rio. Raj, you were telling me about this before we got on the air.
Yeah, did you hear about this, Matt? About Alberto Del Rio being involved in a backstage fight over the weekend because someone looked at Paige, touched, apparently grabbed her or touched her or something in front of him, and I guess Del Rio got the better end of the fight that they had backstage in Mexico.
Wow, that's pretty ballsy to grab another dude's girl backstage. That's not something that would ever really happen here in the States. Not nowadays, it wouldn't. And plus, your girl shouldn't be backstage. But if she's one of the boys in wrestling, that's different, obviously.
Do you think Paige is kind of, whether, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's their fault if that story is true, if someone did grab her, but all this, these kind of headlines constantly, you think this is helping her cause to end up back in, on the main roster when she's
No, I don't. And I saw something else. I'm sure you saw it as well. They asked them about what they think of Donald Trump with Linda McMahon, something such, right? And he was like, he gave the double birds about Donald Trump, and then he walked off camera, yelling, basically saying, something about he's got nothing nice to say about the McMahons, basically, or something like that. And then what's her name was like, I love you, Vince, and then got up and left, so she didn't have to hear him talk crap about her company. Even that is still not a good setting for her or the proper context for her. She's gonna wake up. I hope it doesn't happen to her one day and realize. So when I was dating this guy, right, I was on the verge of being probably one of the biggest female, wrestlers on the WWE roster, along with two other really good talents that now are in history books as two of the best girls ever did it. I'm talking 20 years from now. And she's going to regret this. I hope she doesn't. I hope it doesn't hurt her. I hope she does whatever she needs to do. But this dating, whatever the hell they are thing, is not helping her.
Yeah,
it's just not. I hate to say that because Alberto's a pretty nice guy. He seems like a class act, actually, from all accounts of guys I know that know him.
Yeah, and he was praising Vince a little bit in that TMZ video, although he was ripping on Linda. Not ripping her, but he said he didn't think that she would do a good job. And
it's just the association, even like WWE's done so much more for so much less to people that have been in the same room with someone who even whispered something anti-WWE.
Yeah. Someone's asking if we see Bully Ray make an appearance in the Royal Rumble. They've done that surprise before, so I don't see it.
What do you mean, Bully Ray or Bubba Ray?
Bubba Ray, but yeah, I think it's kind of a waste of a surprise at this point because they've done it before.
To eat up spots, I can see it, but
Devon's working for the WWE now. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Someone's asking about Sid Vicious. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. The Alamo Dome. That's where Sid Vicious won the title at the Royal Rumble in 1996. So it'd be a 20-year. That'd actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he was back that was it Raw 1000 when they had all those legends coming back and beating up Heath Slater.
Yeah.
Sid Vicious was one of them, and he looked like he was in great shape.
Yeah.
But he, I mean, I guess it depends on if he'd be able to take the bump to the outside because of his ankle.
I don't want to see old guys, man. I want to see some, unsigned talent like an eight. I know we're not going to get another AJ, but something like that.
Yeah.
Or a call up.
Yeah.
I know it's not the right way to feature them, but I don't know. I want the surprise to mean something. I don't want it to be Haku or.
We'll probably see a call up. I mean,
somebody
with NXT like the night before. I mean, I would be shocked if with Takeover the night before there's not a call up at the Rumble. It seems like the best way to do it.
Well, yeah, they usually do. I'm sorry, Sid lost the title to Shawn Michaels at the Royal Rumble. Someone's asking if WWE Network will get to 3 million subscribers someday.
Is that really a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, aren't they right?
I don't think
just under 2.
No, they're quite a bit under 2. They're at 1.4. I think they're gonna have a hard time getting and staying around 2. So I don't see it anytime soon.
What happens if they don't hit 2?
Well, that was their big goal. Like that's what they were saying made it worth it. Was that number was 2 million? I mean,
Gotcha.
all the streams of revenue that they kind of sacrificed. I mean, it is profitable now, but it at this point they would be doing better if they still had pay-per-view.
Really?
Assuming they didn't fall off that much, from year to year.
Right. Wow. I was not aware of that.
I will say, I feel like I get more value out of that subscription than any other monthly
God,
subscription I pay
yeah.
for.
The people know
for
how to work
hardcore
that
fans.
system too. You know, they know how to sign up and not ever pay. You
Yep.
know, just keep getting new email addresses. And
I would pay $20 a month for that membership, by the way.
I'd pay 50. I mean, that's what I was paying anyway for the pay-per-view. So
I mean, I watch it so much.
Yeah, they need one other show that I think is a breakout to, maybe goes a little beyond just the hardcore fans, and I think they'll be fine.
I think they got enough shows. I think they almost got too much, but
you think so?
Yeah, I mean, it's so much.
Look, I don't watch Swerved. I don't watch that crap.
Right? Yeah,
Swerved is actually, in defense of Swerved, I actually thought Swerved was pretty good. I mean, as far as prank shows, it's funny, and it's funny because it's wrestling.
No, here's what it comes down to. It comes down to a lesser version of the real deal. If I want to watch a real prank show, I'll go watch a real prank show. I don't want to see a bunch of wrestlers doing it okay, or hey, that's pretty funny for a wrestler. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to see that.
Season 1 was funnier because the jokes were on the wrestlers, and I guess for season 2 they were like, yeah, wrestlers really didn't like how they came across.
I'm saying for my entertainment purposes is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm by myself on this, but on my own island. But I want to watch all the old Nitros. I like to watch all the old AWA stuff, NWA stuff, everything I get my hands on. Even I'm just right now in our room watching. Before Raw came on, I was watching 2001 Monday Night Raw. You know, the Alliance-ish era time.
I think
I love watching that stuff.
I think Table for Three is the most underrated show on the network. If they just did more stuff like that, just guys sitting around talking, telling stories.
I watched that one. Yeah, I watched that one, but
I think that one's really solid. I don't know. I feel like you get a lot of value out of it. Monday Night Raw alone. I mean, I think it's fantastic.
But let me ask you this, though. If they didn't have any of those shows, would that change your subscribing to the network? I just feel like those shows don't make much of a difference. I don't see people being like, I gotta keep my subscription because of story time, or these other shows that they got.
Nope, I wouldn't. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, NXT and pay-per-views. I mean, I could think they could probably,
NXT.
that in the archives, they could survive on. But I think they want to feel like a network. I mean, we're in right now, people have even gone beyond the golden age. The platinum age of television and streaming TV is a big part of that. And I think maybe part of it's just a pride thing. WWE doesn't want to feel like we're just this archive network. I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing scripted material, whether it's a half-hour comedy or hour-long drama.
I can see that. I can see them doing that and thinking that that's something people would pay to see. They'd be a little bit wrong, but
yeah. Hey, the studios somehow are still in business, putting out these direct-to-DVD movies that no one but me and 6 other people watch. They're
losing money though. The WWE studios has been a money loser since the beginning.
Probably making a film starring Wade Barrett was a bit of a bad call as far as timing goes.
Yeah. So, All right, guys, quick. If you guys want to get a couple questions in, use hashtag Wrestling Inc. We'll get a couple more in. Someone's asking us to talk about AJ. There's not really much to say. He's
phenomenal.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He had a minor ankle injury. He's back tomorrow night. But it's his first match back since TLC.
Against James Ellsworth. Well, that's how they're going to explain Ellsworth getting the title. Is that AJ was still injured?
They are.
Ellsworth's been, that's in more SmackDown main events than Dean Ambrose has.
Stop chanting for him, people. Stop chanting for him. The rib is over. It's not funny anymore. It was funny for a hot minute. The guy with no chin, he's ridiculous looking. He's not even one of you. That's what I don't understand. You guys, he's not even relatable to a fan. He is smaller, less athletic, less intimidating than any fan in that arena. So there you go. That is my PSA. Stop chanting for that guy. He's wasting time on Matt Morgan's TV, and I think that should be enough reason for you to stop chanting for him.
They could be giving more segments to the Spirit Squad, who are still officially on the roster.
All right. Did you have a question, Glenn? I have one last one.
No.
First. Someone's asking about Samoa Joe and the Royal Rumble. Would that be a good move?
As his boy, I want to see it. A payday I want him to get. And though, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, Raj, we want to see him get that big, what's the word? Ta-da! Here he is, everybody. Main event unveiling. Yeah. When he finally debuts to some degree, not just one of 30 guys.
Yeah, you kind of want him to come in, like just choke out John Cena and just destroy him, or something like that.
Yeah,
it's just something that really leaves a lasting impression. I think the Royal Rumble would be good for someone like Geez, who?
Who do we got down there?
Ty Dillinger.
Ty Dillinger.
Okay.
Yeah. You got the 10 thing going, but they're not going to win. Keep him in for a little bit. But yeah.
Ty, maybe some of the girls can't come in it. Who? Austin Aries is. What's his deal, by the way?
He's injured right now. That eye injury.
Did you guys know he was going to be a commentator on the Cruiserweight show?
Not until earlier that day.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a surprise.
But yeah, I wonder if they're the only thing about Austin Aries on that show is I have a hard time like telling him and Corey Graves apart.
Yes, they're very similar voices. They do. I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was him at first. I really didn't. I'm friends with the guy. I was like, that can't be him. He's not commentating on this show. And he was. I hope that means more, though, for him as far as them having faith in him talking and then giving him when he's ready, because he's a star as well, I think.
Yeah, it shows that they feel like he's important enough that even while he's injured, they want him doing something. And I wonder if that's where they're moving him to, is the cruiserweight division. If they do, I hope it's more established when he's ready to come back.
Oh, please tell me it is by then. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Ty Dillinger, number 10 at the Royal Rumble. That would be great.
Yes, you have to. It does write itself.
Yeah, it would be money.
But I think that's how you establish the Cruiserweight division, 205 Live more. I mean, take Austin, take Neville, take these guys that fit in there, and give them a show. I mean, Neville might not be a star compared to the rest of the Raw roster, but compared to the Cruiserweights,
he is compared to them. Yes, he is.
And I think he would elevate them, and give him a platform. I think there's a lot of guys they could slide in there that would work nicely. But
or just finally sign the damn Young Bucks.
Yeah.
They just re-signed with ROH for 2 years. So
shut up. Does that mean they can't get out of it or something?
No.
How does that work?
Yeah, I mean it's a deal where they can work ROH in New Japan, and they're also allowed to do PWG, but that's about it. So
ROH
2 years from December 31st. So
what the hell?
Yeah, I guess it was a good money deal to where it was hard for them to turn down. Like
I get the impression they don't want to be in the WWE, though. I mean, they feel like
let me tell you something. Everybody wants to. Okay, you'll play cool guy. I've done it too when they released me. Everybody plays cool guy. They don't want to work there. But
they seem like they would get fired for tweeting the wrong thing or retweeting.
For sure they would. But still, that's what makes them so damn entertaining.
Oh, quickly speaking of New Japan, what did you guys think of the Cody Rhodes announcement?
That he's in the Bullet Club?
Yeah, American Nightmare. Where was that concept when he was in the WWE?
But you look at him, does he look like a nightmare should be in his nickname?
No, but he's doing the suit thing.
It just
doing the cigar, sort of the ugly American, idea of
I thought they were trying to do like a Yakuza, like mafia type of deal with him. But I don't know. Cody, I like him. I think he's great, but he's not, to me, he just doesn't fit in that group.
They had it perfect, in my opinion, with dashing Cody Rhodes and then the face mask Cody Rhodes. I found him very entertaining during that stage.
I thought for Stardust, I thought
Rey Mysterio. Sorry,
took the ball and ran with it with Stardust, and I know he hated it, but I thought
I didn't like it.
Oh God, that was terrible.
I hated it. I felt bad for him. I didn't like it for him either. He did as much as he could with that crap.
I thought it was pretty much downhill once he got the mustache, and there was a uptick when he was teaming with Goldust. They had some great matches, and once he became Stardust, that was the end.
I mean, he was the Intercontinental Champ when that title meant a little bit more, and he was right there. I don't know what the
him and Ray. It looked like Ray was starting to get him to that next level,
right?
And then that momentum, they started beating him every week, and the momentum was gone.
Yeah,
we'll see what he does in New Japan. Cool, guys. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. We'll be back here on Sunday to talk about Roadblock End of the Line immediately after that pay-per-view ends on the West Coast, or pardon me, on the East Coast. And then Raj and myself will be back here Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern to talk about SmackDown Live, talk about AJ Styles' return and his main event title match versus James Ellsworth. Let's see how that goes. So until next time, Matt, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
My bouncing boobs.
Check out Matt's Balancing Boobs, or Bouncing Boobs, sorry. Balancing Boobs.
Sorry, guys. Check me out on Instagram tonight, just after the show's over with. If there's any questions that we weren't able to get to, you guys can hit me up on my Instagram, at BP, as in Blueprint, at BP Matt Morgan, where I will attempt to stream live for about 5 minutes there. So shoot me any last-minute questions before I fall asleep. Cool, man. And Raj, anything to look for on the site this week?
Just it's a busy week. Roadblock this Sunday, so it's Tons of stuff every day.
Cool, man. So Raj and I'll see you back here on Wednesday. We'll be back here with Matt on Sunday after Roadblock End of the Line. Until next time, I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and we'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.